The Ministry of Social Development has partnered with educators, social media influencers, and other concerned persons to host a series of discussions on the issues.
These discussions will be live streamed on November 25th and 27th and December 2nd and 4th on Mikey Live and other platforms. They will be aired each day from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m.
Join us for this highly informative and interactive session. Add your voice and let's encourage each other to do all we can to rid Grenada of this terrible scourge.
Everyone deserves protection from abuse, violence, and harm. Let us promote zero tolerance for these actions in our country.
This has been brought to you by the Gender-Based Violence Unit of the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another in the series of episodes. This is all part of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Of course, these conversations are made possible by the Gender-Based Violence Unit of the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs. I am Lexanne Fletcher, your moderator for this afternoon, and I have an amazing and remarkable team of panelists joining me. Today, our topic of conversation will be the next generation. What are we teaching our boys and girls? For those of you viewing via Mikey Live, welcome again. Don't forget to share the live, share it with someone close to you, and especially someone who can use this type of conversations that we're about to have. So before we move on, I would say special thank you to George F. Huggins, Grenada, and also Tropical Catering. And it's time to meet our panelists for this afternoon's discussion. Sitting next to me, closest to me, I have Ms. Dale Neptune. She is a trained and certified life skill trainer and parenting facilitator. Next to Ms. Neptune is Ms. Reese Sam. Ms. Sam is a member of Heal with Hope Foundation and cultural enthusiast. And also, they say ladies first, so I'm gonna just jump over on to Miss Emily Rapier. Emily is a creative and entrepreneur, and also Miss Anisha Hostin. Anisha is an extension officer with the Ministry of Agriculture and also a motivational speaker. And the man himself with us this evening, oh, we love the fact that he is joining us this evening for this conversation, Mr. Jason Campbell. Jason is a children's book author, and also illustrator. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome.
Good afternoon.
Oh, you're like as excited as I am. Now, I know our viewers would have caught the previous conversations. There were two prior to us, and there is still one more left for later on this week. But today we want to dive into a specific demographic, our young men and women, young boys and girls. And I'm so excited to start this conversation today. And I really want this to be as honest, as thought-provoking, and, you know, awakening as much as it can be. Of course, they're here in my living room, so we're gonna have a lovely, comfortable chat this afternoon. So if we can dive straight into it, ladies and gent, let's start by exploring how early these attitudes form. So much of what we believe about respect and equality starts long before adulthood. So, with that being said, how early do you think gender biases form in children and teens? I'm just going to say anybody right now, go for it.
I can
Reese?
Being a parent of two daughters and a son, I think I kind of have the best of both worlds in terms of having to grow them. And I would say that those biases start from very early, from as early as maybe the terrible twos, 3. I think it starts there. But in today's society, you have to be a very conscious parent. You have to be aware. You have to know that you are growing children in an environment where you have a lot that you are combating, a lot you are fighting against, a lot that you are trying to prevent, so to speak. And with that, I can speak personally. I choose to grow my children in a lot of ways that is not very stereotypical of what boys are allowed to do and what girls are allowed to do. So just as my daughters were not allowed to go to St. George's on an evening or a Saturday or a holiday to just lime in town, purposeless, my son is not allowed either. So I'll just kick it off there.
Emily, I see you constantly, and I know you're a mommy, and I know you're probably getting to that 2-3 stage right now.
So, I would say, I don't want to say terrible twos, but you know, it's true. But I have a 2-year-old, and I can see at that age, it's like a parrot. What they see, they do.
Yes.
You know. But while I believe it begins early, I feel like this is something that is always happening, and I think we need to focus on that because, as you're saying, you're combating a lot. There's a wide variety of influences, and you can't be there throughout their entire life. So I remember while I was growing up, the different behaviors and things that I would see that would at least be foreign to me, thankfully from my parents. I would say, okay, I'm not accustomed to seeing people in that way, but now I have to be intentional and mindful not to adopt it and, you know, to shape my own mind. So I think it's important to note for parents that this happens throughout their life and it's always being shaped. So we have to always take a look at it.
Yes, and I think that it's even earlier than 2. Wow. If we go back to the who am I starting from the womb, even when parents are, you know, trying to figure out what sex baby they are having in terms of choosing the colors of the clothing. And so when the baby born, you know, pink shak for the girl and blue, and we dress up the girl with all, and the boys in a particular color. And not only with the colors, but even the toys. Right? We say that the cooking utensils, they are for the girls, and the other tractors and trucks and so forth. And so right there, we are shaping and grooming a particular mindset. And so even when we're not rushing into the whole program here, but even when we look at in terms of discipline, we would say, oh, you don't hit the girls, but do we tell the girls don't hit the boys? Right? So I think it starts very early, even before.
I would even join in with my colleagues to say, can we just look at it as well, even from a baby stage? Yes. You have mommy just having a baby. Dale and I were having that little chat before we started, and a mother would just do everything for the girl. They would put out, and especially if the daddy has no, you know, children prior, and the girl has to get everything proper. So with the first baby, everything we buy the crib, we buy the walkers, everything would be intact. Comes the second, might be a boy, and the attention that is placed on the female is not placed on the male, you know. So I believe that there should be balance, you know, even as from a baby stage, that their minds and even things that parents say to, you know, over the little ones when they, you know, mommy breastfeeding, she would say, I expect you, and you know, you talk to them, I expect you to be the best you can be. And you might have a boy, and when that time comes, and the emphasis that you place over the female, you know, than the male. So I think all these things put together can have an impact in how the mindset is formed and so on.
Jason?
Yes, you're quite right. Both of you, I mean, everyone is quite right. Because I have no kids of my own, but I have my niece and little nephew. And to tell you the honest truth, they start from a child, a little baby, come all the way up. Yeah. And I remember having to teach her, okay, you have to stop doing this or do whatever the case is. And she would ask, why? Like, it's like the age 2-year-old, they ask, everything is why this, right? And you have to kind of like explain everything to them, why this or why don't do this, or what will happen if you do it. And that's from right there. That's when it starts.
That's right.
Okay. So, in answering the question, I think Emily and I were more thinking about when it started impacting them. So hence that age. But you are quite right that the biases start since during the pregnancy. So it starts before the baby exists. Yes. So it's not even about the baby. Yes.
Because even
when
the
it starts
mother,
impacting,
the mother is, it
starts with yourself.
The baby is in there. You will be often taught that, we should engage conversation with the baby.
Right.
And if it's a girl again, and the first girl, mommy would spend all the time and she would be speaking into that little one. But sometimes the boys do not get, that kind of attention. So I would say from since, in the womb,
That's right. Oftentimes we send out spoken messages about love and power and equality, even when we don't mean to. So let's unpack that for a second. What are some of the unspoken messages we might be teaching boys and girls about love, power, equality, and even unintentionally, so to speak?
I think the tone, the tone in which we speak to our children, the boys tend to get harsh tones. And the young ladies, even if you're harsh, there's still some love showing there, some empathy and some softness. And the boys is all rumble, tumble, angry tone. And mind you, this is not in every case, right? Because my grandsons, sometimes we be firm, but not in this tone. Because something I try to do with my children is to break cycles in the way I communicate to them and communicate with them. I remember saying to them, if you think you cannot have the conversation with me, write it on notes. So they used to put notes all over the house. And although there are times I'm upset with them, I try to remember, because I'm trying to unlearn certain things. And tough love, yes, but speaking directly to and with, rather than the shouting. And mind you, yes, shouting did come with it, But when we speak about the communication, we don't, and I think because maybe sometimes we didn't know how, because our parents, this is what we got. And I think as becoming adults, when we're in our adult life, we consciously, some of us try to say, hey, no, not this way with my children, all right? And so while we unlearn, we learn together with educating and showing love. But what I notice is the love that some parents are showing is material, right? Offering material things, the phone, the clothing, the what, they go into the fair, and so on. So this is another conversation in itself, in terms of how do we unpack all of that in terms of love and communication.
Even with the boys, again, you would say that we expect, those boys to project that kind of tough love, and I mean, you hear this saying that, girls must be seen and not be heard. So it is okay, and it is not okay at the same time. You're getting that kind of reception to, our children, making the boys feel that it is good to be mature. But boys themselves, they have their own feelings within them, and they would need, a proper place to channel it. So we should not encourage that, our boys should not be soft. If they are soft, we call them sissy boys, and they're teased. If a boy is too emotional, we do not expect that from them, because, again, they have this mature kind of a personality that they should be. But if the girls are softy, we expect that from the girls, and we think that is the norm. And if a girl too sometimes gets a little, should I say high pitch, she's loud. And there are times, based on the environment, that you come from, that's what you learn. So you always believe in communication. Well, the best way is to raise my voice. I should have to be shouting when that shouldn't be the case. I mean, my firstborn, he said to me, Mommy, and it's strange that the word bias comes in. He said, my siblings thereafter got better treatment because I got more licks than them, you know. So even I had to get to a place to say to him, you know, son, I apologize. But after, you know, the period of time, at least you'll learn the proper way in that to deal with your boys and your girls.
I'd like to add the expectations that we have for boys versus girls. Boys are supposed to be the protectors of even their siblings, especially their female siblings. Even if they're younger, they're expected to. I think I'm guilty of that too. I say to my son, you know, if anything happens to me, remember you have to take care of your sisters. One is older than him, right? So I think the expectations is one of the biases as well. The way we communicate with them, as Dale said, it is something where we are harder because we expect that of them, we expect better of them. If we have to discipline them, we're tougher with them, and it is unfair, and I do get that sometimes, you know, like you hear things like, you know, if there's any child that fed better is Nala, you know, and whatever, and I beg to differ, you know, but I believe that because of the expectations, the high expectations that we have, you'll get these things being pushed back at you.
Yeah, definitely.
What I like, it's, I mean, she kind of touched on most of what I was thinking of, but society has a lot to do with it. Because just imagine, you have boys, and yes, they're too soft, or they're too loud, or they're too hard. Everything, there's a reason for everything. Now, how or where are they going to express that emotion? That is one of the main things nowadays. Because if you look around the world today, you can go in for Grenada right here, and the amount of young people, or boys I should say, that are getting themselves in all sorts of crazy. Most of them are just, you know, the kind of love or a way of, you know, relieving themselves or emotional, whatever the case is. That has a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah, definitely. Emily, you wish to add?
Yes, I think I agree with what everybody said and resonate deeply with it. Personally, I like to look at it in a sort of yin and yang sort of example, masculine and feminine energy, which we all have within us. And I think not because a boy means you don't dabble in feminine energy, not because you're a girl, and vice versa. And I think that blend is unique to each individual. And I think the idea of like generalization in general is kind of like, well, why do we feel the need as humans to always do that? And I think the beautiful thing with parenting, it's a journey of looking within yourself.
Self as well.
Because why am I impatient? I mean, overstimulation is expected with parenting. But now I get an opportunity to try and practice, stop, and intentionally respond in a different way and break stereotypes. So I think that I don't really speak about that, like boys do this or girls do that with my son. And I definitely, like my theme is leading with love. And he's such a loving 2-year-old. He's always hugging, kissing, love you, I'm sorry, I understand, you know, it's okay to cry, mommy, like, you know, and he's 2 years old. But I just always respond to him as I would want somebody to respond to me, not because I'm a girl, but because I'm going through something. I may not know how to regulate my emotions. I'm still struggling with it too. We're both living life for the first time. So giving grace, holding boundaries rather than punishment. So you might be upset. I understand that you're sad, but I want you to know that this is why this isn't good, but I love you. I love you. I know you're crying, but I love you. Just remind you that I love you. And but you still may not get what you want right now. And I think gender doesn't play a huge role, while it may. And I know that we like to recognize why things happen, but personally, I like to look at the way things can be and decide what is for me and my life. And I think that's how I take control of as much as I can of my situation and my family.
It's a great way of keeping them conscious as well. And it does, listen, you said it earlier. Sorry, I had to jump in too.
That's
because,
okay.
I'm
Yeah, of course.
So, it's just that, because my first, I used to have conversations with her. I'd speak to them, people like, why are you speaking to your child like if she's a big 12-year-old, 13-year-old? Yes. But I think it's important for them to be able to reason, to be able to be aware, to decipher, okay, is this right, is this wrong? Critical thinking, all these little things. You're sowing that seed. Mm-hmm. You're sowing that seed because it's a lot. Yes, it's a lot.
Who's first? But even, your name again?
Emily.
Emily, as Emily was saying, she's finding herself with her baby, her little one. But previous times, that wasn't possible. Indeed, it's now that we are coming to this kind of exposure that, it's okay to have a conversation. As they would say in the olden, years, that wasn't possible. It would have been out of place. You can sit down, use a child, sit there, and I have the final say. But no, we have the environment, and when we have our sons and our daughters, our children, being able to be so open and passionately come to discuss with us, and even like my last one, he's 10, and he would come and he had a discussion with me about his father, and he was saying, Mommy, I think that you have interest in Daddy still. I said, no, but Daddy and I is not together. And I was shocked that when he came out. So I'm saying, where you get that idea from? But in normal times, children would not have been allowed to be so expressive, so at least, through these type of programs that, it's been hosted, that persons, hopefully that parents are listening, young ones coming up, and that they could be able to learn to chime in from this kind of, discussions that has been happening.
The thing is, this is so important, being very intentional with the way you grow. Yes. My first daughter, I remember I was accused of having too much conversation with her. Why is it that you feel like you have to explain so much to Aaliyah? But it worked for me. Yes. I was a young mom. I was like about 24 at the time when I was doing all this talking. And it worked for me because she understood, she responded, and I saw growth in her. We used to say she's like a 22-year-old, 2-year-old, yes. Because you saw it allowed her, as you said, to think critically, right? But the truth is, we do get tired.
Yes.
After we invest all that time in the first one,
yes,
we kind of we kind of expect the next one is going to be a little automatic, like it's going to be in their DNA to know certain things by the time they're born. Yes. So we do get tired, but as we're always told, you have to have stick-to-itiveness when it comes to growing children. And the communication, we cannot stress more enough how communication is like the game changer with them, even in adulthood, being able to come and tell you what their issues are, what they are going through. Because if they weren't fostered that way, it's like those things are taboo. We don't talk about it. I deal with my problems internally. And as much as I might have been that person doing it as a parent, I don't want my children to be that way. I want them to be able to come and tell me anything.
And even as you said that you deal, you internalize a lot of the things that you feel. This is where some problems comes too. I mean, we don't want to stay too long on the topic, But when let us say you have all these feelings bottled up inside, sometime later on, you realize, why this child is lashing out like that? But because they was not given a safe space where they was comfortable enough to express themselves as to what they were feeling or experiencing at that particular time.
And I just want to say, I am enjoying my daughters, looking at them being parents. And my second daughter has a 6-year-old boy. And the way, as we talk about speaking, and the way he will have this conversation with you like a little adult and ask questions. So I just want to say kudos to them because I feel a sense of satisfaction of breaking cycles. And he speaks to Anisha and he speaks to adults and, and so people in the community loves to speak to him as well. So this has gone past family, and we're talking about community and school. So when we help them with this open communication, emotional intelligence, you know, the ripple effects take place. And so it also helps other parents to say, speak to the parent. What is happening? What are you doing with your son? And yes, we all full up with girls. So, you know, we want to focus on the emotional intelligence of the boys. And he will say, Grandma, I love you, call me. And, you know, I feel so good because I couldn't tell my mother I love her. You know, these words were not, you know, they were not flowing. And
did
so,
that, Grandma.
Yeah.
Yes. Accomplished.
Yes,
I want us to jump forward. So let's fast forward a little bit, just a tad bit. And now we're moving into the later stages of these young boys and girls and recognizing red flags early. What early red flags should young people recognize as signs of unhealthy or controlling behavior?
We're not going to finish today.
Yeah, I know. It's when these areas are, we can go very deep with these.
I think it boils down to emotional intelligence. I'm very passionate about emotional intelligence and always did my own research and learning for myself. And I think that's the beauty and the purpose of emotions themselves, the positive and the negative. Now we're talking practically, how do we apply emotional intelligence? So let's say, for instance, I have a friend and she's doing something that's really great, and I'm jealous of her. I may not be envious, but if I am being mindful and I'm aware of that feeling in my body, I can then say, this is where I want to be. And rather than tell her or do something to, like, let that brew into something negative, I made him say, you know, I'm jealous of you. I'm going to start doing that, girl. Thank you for motivating me. Because I want to get where you are. And the next day, I just make choices towards that. So now you have a group of friends and you find yourself feeling uncomfortable around them. Take a moment. It wouldn't be today, tomorrow. I think we're very instant, and I think that's why people just give up with emotions, because it takes a lot of practice and showing up and consistency. But if I'm uncomfortable around and I realize, I'm not comfortable here, this is a red flag. Maybe this is not my crowd anymore, because I grew out of this crowd. I had a friend for ages, and we were like best of friends. But they would always make jokes about me in a way, like, it's cool, we laughing. Nobody could laugh more at me than me. But I realized it was a lot of these kind of underhanded kind of jokes. Emily this, Emily that. And after I was like, you know, I don't think I want to be friends with this person anymore. And they were like, everybody was like, how? You know this person for so long. And I'm like, I feel so much better. I feel so much at peace. And I see them, I'm like, what's up? We good? But we're not close like that. You don't have access to me on that level anymore because you don't respect me or like pour into me. And that was a red flag for me, so I cut it off.
And it's okay.
Yes, and we, you know, just today we were speaking about red flags. Like friendly bullying is what you said, in this undertone as a joke. And the children, the teenagers, they are doing it. Grab the bag, throw it down, you know, and rush somebody hard, no sorry, and so forth. And it starts this small and they move up. So we are seeing a lot of that now with the teenagers. And some of the parents are not able to handle it, neither the teachers. They call the parents, you know, give up, the teachers give up as well. And I remember a child eating my grandson breakfast every morning. Every morning. And the parent didn't think that was something, you know, wrong, and just put it on my grandson to say, oh, he's not sharing, right? This child, you know, the parents and the school have to start to pay attention, because after the breakfast, what next? All right? And I think sometimes what we are seeing, those red flags are people are just letting them slide, whether it's be violence, whether it's calling people names, whether it's belittling people, whether it's discrimination, and so on, and just letting it slide, or people laughing, even at the age group, like your son is 2, you know, they say some things, and we just start to laugh, and they start getting into the development and think it's okay to say that because it sounds, you know, But I think red flags continue until we are adults, and then we get so used to it. If we don't do the check or somebody don't rain check on us, we think it's okay.
Even
Emily.
It's okay that Emily was saying that, she was honest enough to identify. And I said that a few days ago to someone I was on a program with. And I said, jealousy is not bad, but it's how you handle it. Mm-hmm. And as she said, you can say to someone, I feel that emotion, and I feel that not in an envious manner. So I can say to Dale, because we like kind of besties, so I would say, Dale, I can feel free enough to say, Dale, I like this dress on you. Learn to compliment. Yes. And if you are in a clique or you are in a bunch of with friends and you notice that there is not much compliments taking place, my sweetie here might be doing exceptionally well, and everyone in the group cannot say well done. And those things trickle down to simple postings on Facebook. Mm-hmm. You will have friends and you would post a picture, lovely pretty girl, and everybody else would comment. And the person that you're expecting, they're not there. But how come I am always commenting on my friend's story? And you would see, as they say, when you post on the platform Facebook, and you go in the story, it's different. In your story, you would see hundreds, but put it there, you will not see there. So we need to be able to identify what we feel, and even if we don't say it to someone, but we do the mirror thing. I talk a lot to myself in my mirror. So, Anisha, I'm feeling that jealous emotion. It's not a bad thing, but I must learn to compliment Dale. I can compliment Reese. I can compliment Mikey. And, we build that kind of brotherhood and sisterhood instead of tearing down. So when you observe that these things are happening, these are serious red flags that you should set boundaries and be cautious.
I think everyone basically touched on these red flags, and that big one for me is when you're in a room, so to speak, could be, let's say, the school, the workplace, wherever, and your gut feeling tells you.
Of course, you feel it.
You feel it. That you feel like you're not preferred, you're not wanted. Mm-hmm. You cannot be complimented, no matter what you do. Something just doesn't seem right. Mm-hmm. That's a red flag, and being able to identify it is most important, because there are people who spend their entire life trying to fit in, trying to belong, and it just wouldn't happen, but the minute time you step back, see, that's what happens, Once you identify it and you step back, because you know yourself, the right people
will find you,
would resonate with
you. The right people
and
will find you.
You would find those lifelong.
Because you touched on the last piece, because it doesn't make sense if you're not mindful or intentional and don't know yourself. You're probably gonna just be bumping around. So I think it's what we can try and preach for people is the whole process and journey of mindfulness and knowing yourself, loving yourself, so that you can have a certain sense of pride with how you interact with the world.
Absolutely. Yes. So another clock is ticking. We're going to take a break, but not right now, Mikey. Just giving you a little heads up there, giving the team a little heads up. But I want to jump on this one just before we do that break. Families and schools. Families and schools play a major role in breaking old patterns. I would love to hear each and every one of you, your thoughts on how we can model balance and respect. What steps can families and schools take, to break these old patterns? And if I could just do a prompt following this prompt, I look at the situations with the young men in the school and the bullying and everything that's happening, and I say, I keep saying to myself, gone are the days when you had old school teachers, and I'm not judging anyone here, but you had certain teachers who can look at a student and say, something is going on with Jason today, something is going on with Frank today. Let me just pull them aside and have a little conversation and find out what's going on, because guess what? That energy goes elsewhere. It goes in the grabbing the bag, the eating the lunch, and taking the money, that sort of thing. So if each of you could just share, what role we can play, families and schools, in curbing a lot of these behaviors.
Is caring.
Yeah.
Because if we care as parents about our children, then we will want what's good for them. If we care enough, we would know that what the school is doing is trying to help our children and not make the school, the principal, our enemies. We would go in, we would try to find out. We would care enough to do that. Same thing on the side of the school. If you care enough, you are not going to throw a blind eye towards that Jason that you speak about. Because a lot of times, the Jasons are the success stories. What they need is some attention, some love, care, and attention. And not much, a little does a lot for them when you have nothing, right? So I think caring enough can make a difference in a child's life when the parents and the school come together with one common goal, one common intention of allowing a child to have the opportunity to be their best self.
One of the things I do as a parent, I never spoke. Even if I had some way feeling about a teacher, I never had that conversation with my children. Even when they came to say, Miss do that and Miss do that, I would say, well, maybe Miss had a bad day. Who tell you that? These things. But I kept constant rapport with the school. And when they knew that, they sort of behave in a particular way. As an instructor, I stay in touch with parents and I stay in touch with the young man because I have adults 16 and over. And that's where they have all different issues, trying to cope with social issues, trying to cope with who they are and all of these things. And I said to them, listen, I am not giving up on you. You could give me all the excuse in the book. I am not giving up on you. And sometimes they'll say, Miss, I can't make it. I say, okay, tomorrow is the last day you're going to come. And when they come tomorrow, saying, oh, what about tomorrow, a Monday? And so I show them empathy. I show them that, listen, you're worth it. You will make it. It doesn't matter who said what, your parent or whoever. And that is my success story. When I meet my young people and they say, Miss, I'm still working with you, Miss, thank you. Or they send a little note just saying, oh, I missed you in school. I didn't see you. What's up? They say, hey, Miss, you really miss me? Hey, oh, I wasn't there? After all, among all these people, all these other students. And this is the way I try to communicate. And just these words, as Risi was saying, caring, they feel a sense of belonging. They feel a sense that, oh, I am wanted. Hey, my mother didn't want me or the teacher in this school, but hey, here is this person saying, and if I should refer to NULO, these are the things we do at NULO. That's why we are standing out. Right? We don't refuse anybody. We can't save everybody, but at the same time, in the majority, we make you feel a sense of love. And so one of the things we do is I say we communicate with families. Mind you, some of them parents are terrible, but we sticking on them. We sticking on them and this is real. Being sticking on them because what they didn't do when the child was there, they want to now try to get them to be 16, 17, right? But however, we keep them close. We keep them close and we keep the young person close. And so that caring, this just telling somebody, I care about you. You look good today. You will do well. That connection and communication, trust me. Any other red flag you had with behavior, whether you think they're suicidal, whether you think they're doing what in a negative sense, these small words, they go a long way
really
and bring that sense of belonging there. Really we want to encourage continued communication with parents. And it's just say, how is Jason doing today? How is Risi doing today? She's doing good. Does Anisha have homework today? Even if the parents don't even know what to do. But just that open communication and with the children knowing that miss or sir and mommy talking hello, I better watch my space, you know, and these types of things like that.
Anyone else wish to add before we go to
Yeah,
break?
sure. First of all, I agree completely. So just to add, I think from a systemic point of view, schools and families also not to only focus on education, but in terms of quality of life. So the education system is one of the systems that has not changed. Like it ages half a century or more, and every other way of life has changed around us. And for some reason, it's just on the back burner on a global level, where we just don't really care to really change the way we, put children through the system. But I feel like we need to have more care in schools, and we need to teach children about quality of life, what that means, and how much control you have over it. And so that your grades are not the end of it all. Education is not the only way forward. While it's very important, there are other ways that you can have intelligence. So there's like about 9 types of intelligence. There's bodily intelligence, there's language intelligence, there's, so dancers are extremely intelligent individuals on another level. So we need to respect and see all types of intelligence so that different types of children can feel seen and feel like they're a part of a community, and that they can get excited for the way they want to decide and live their life.
That's right. That's true education. You said that it takes a village, to raise a child, and the village needs to be educated first. If the adults are not educated about the various things that are happening, we look at social media, that's where our children are half of the time based on the computers, the laptops. They are there, and they would learn certain type of behaviors there, and then they would think it is right. What they're seeing there, it is okay to do. Because, you have children, and you would listen to them, the way they would express themselves. Sometimes the things they start saying, this is not in my environment. So you know that they are getting it somewhere. So as I said, we need to have that mentality where the village raise, a child or children, but the village needs to be educated on the various issues and, not make other kids feel bad. Because I recall a situation, and I like speaking of experiences that I have because it helps. I remembered my son, my firstborn, coming first in class. And one parent said to his son, "You making that boy come first in class?" And he said, "Mommy, but he told him that." And, and this affected me as a mother, but I had to find it to hide my emotions and let him know you're not in competition with anyone. It is okay to become your own individual. And, when I look at my firstborn today, the way he's striving and the way he's developing, and some of the things he will come back and say to me, he say, "Mommy, you're a bit me and thing." But you're looking now and you're seeing the training. So as I said before, it takes a village, but we need the village to be educated in order to make positive deposits in our young people and our children.
Absolutely. Love that. Jason, are you good? Or you wish to add anything?
Yes, I wish.
Please do.
I wish to add. I really wish to add, because just hearing this lady speak here, it's like it just brings me right back to childhood.
Yes.
I remember at school, the way the nice lady here addressed Dale addressed the students and all of that stuff. I remember I went to St. George's Anglican, and I was just like that. Some of the teachers were just like that. They would behave to you really nice. They would teach you really nice. Sometimes you just sitting there and define, you're accustomed jollying about, walking about, or talking, and define you sitting for yourself. They'll come and pull a chair and sit next to you. So tell me, what happened?
Yes.
You understand? What's going on? Communication. I tell you, it's very important in these children nowadays. Well, even back then, it's very, very important. And the reason for that is, what happens when you don't communicate? The child come home, especially at home, the parents, parents, this falls in our pocket, in our pot, in our lap. The child will come home with a problem.
Yeah.
And he cannot come to you and tell you, okay, Mom, this happened and this took place at school today. He cannot do that, because if he come to you and so what happened, you don't have a teacher? That's the first thing. You don't have a teacher? Then you come to you with this problem. That happens.
Yeah.
And if he cannot talk to you, he'll go outside. And that was where the real problem comes up, because the gang leaders, the drug lords, whatever the case is, that's where they go for help.
That's right.
And the kind of help they go for the ending is not nice.
Yeah.
Just to tie everything together in terms of, and to add more like context to what I meant by quality of life and how we can teach children that both at school and at home, it's includes the way you respond to people, because that affects the way you feel and then the opportunities you have moving forward. You know, we need to make school and homes more fun. And that may sound irresponsible or not like, you know, though school kind of is at times, but research has shown that fun is a gateway to learning for children. It is, right? Your brain lights up when you're having fun. You become intentional. Your details are, you know, heightened, and you have so much fun. So we need to go under the tree outside a bit more. We need to sing a little more. We need to do more creative things, get our bodies moving, and enjoy learning a lot more. And I think everybody would enjoy that. Even the parents and the teachers would enjoy that a lot more. So, you know, and so that we can focus on life being fun and great. I mean, we live in the Caribbean, so
Fun. Yes.
This is so nostalgic. It sounds like in the past.
I had stories.
I had the classes under the tree.
Come on.
Going outside, and it was at that point I used to look up at, because I'm from Guava, I used to look up at the Mongo Road area from the Anglican school. And to me, that was, then I identified how beautiful dry, brown, green is. It was no longer about the flowers in the garden by the school. It was about how the sun hit the sky and all of that. So, and it was very relaxing. It was very relaxing. It made learning fun, more interesting. I was more receptive as opposed to being inside of a hot school. So I agree with you on all of that, but I'd like to touch on that village. That village is so important. Again, we cannot stress enough how much parents and teachers need to be one. I refer to the teachers at my children's school as the second parents. When I'm not there, you are in charge. So wherever any of my 3 children, whatever class they went in, I had a speech that I used to give. If one of them do something wrong, please do not call me and tell me, Nala did something wrong, whatever, because I'm going to ask you, what did you do about it? And if you cannot satisfy me with what you did about it, not what you didn't do, what you did, we're going to have a problem, because you don't need to ask me permission about anything. I don't believe teachers hate children. I don't believe that teachers are just going to just want to do your children wrong. So my kids knew they could have come and tell me everything about what happened in school, but they would tell you, if they're sitting here, the teachers are always right. Yeah, they're right. They're right. They're always right. Yes. To the point where it is like, if they happen to make a misjudgment or something, just see it as one in the bag.
Feels it.
Viewers, again, warm welcome. If you're just checking in, of course, it's made possible. You're watching us right now via Mikey Live. This is the 3rd episode marking the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. It's great, engaging discussion, thought-provoking, and I'm sure many of you can relate to everything that each of the panelists would have mentioned. And today we're discussing the next generation. What are we teaching our boys and girls? We'll continue before we run out of time completely right after this.
Against our women and girls, men and boys, is totally unacceptable and inexcusable. My name is Father Edward Mark, Minister of Religion, social worker, counselor, and a strong advocate against violence. Therefore, I ask Grenada to join with me to take a firm stand against violence of any nature.
This is a message from the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, together with its social partners.
Violence against our women and girls, men and boys, is totally unacceptable and inexcusable. My name is Father Edward Mark, Minister of Religion, social worker, counselor, and a strong advocate against violence. Therefore, I ask Grenada to join with me to take a firm stand against violence of any nature.
This is a message from the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, together with its social partners.
Violence undermines our sense of self-worth and self-esteem. Let us take a stand against all forms of violence. My name is Nala Sam, Little Miss Grenada, the Spice Child, and I take a firm stand against all forms of gender-based violence.
This is a message from the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, together with its social partners.
Feels it are the ones who truly knows it. But we can show empathy. Think what it feels like to be a victim of violence. If you don't like it yourself, don't do it to others. I'm Samuel St. Bernard, Planning Officer in the Ministry of Social Development. I take a firm stand against all forms of gender-based violence.
This is a message from the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, together with its social partners.
Violence destroys lives. Let's end violence now. I am Anya Chow Chung, Chief Executive Officer of George F. Huggins and Company, Grenada Limited, and I am taking a firm stand against gender-based violence.
This is a message from the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, together with its social partners.
Shatters lives. Let's break the cycle. My name is Zalika Peters, and I take a firm stand against all forms of gender-based violence.
This is a message from the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, together with its social partners.
Violence shatters lives. Let's break the cycle. My name is Zalika Peters, and I take a firm stand against all forms of gender-based violence.
This is a message from the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, together with its social partners.
Violence against our women and girls, men and boys, is totally unacceptable and inexcusable. My name is Father Edward Mark, Minister of Religion, social worker, counselor, and a strong advocate against violence. Therefore, I ask Grenada to join with me to take a firm stand against violence of any nature.
This is a message from the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, together with its social partners.
And welcome back. This is the third in the series of the 16 Days of Activism for 2025. It's the conversations that make you think and also instill, change processes and mindset, and also call to action. I'm your moderator for this evening. I'm Lexan Fletcher, and just to remind you who my panelists are, I have Ms. Dale Neptune, Ms. Reese Sam, Ms. Anisha Hostin, Ms. Emily Rapier, and Mr. Jason Campbell. This conversation, folks, has been going really juicy indeed. And let me tell you, I had lots of things to talk about, but I have a feeling we're gonna have to request another session, right? So we're gonna put that in a request with the GBV unit. But here's an area that I really wanna touch on, because I think we all can go really deep with this one. Reese had expressed, yeah, this one is a real deep one, and we need to touch on this one in terms of what can we do to help boys and girls express frustration, disappointment, or anger, but in healthy ways. Anyone? Emily's smiling. Emily's face is
I
light
love
up.
it. I love emotions. I love it. I love it. No, because it's who we are. It's what makes us human as well, and it makes us care. I think just allow them to express. Give people a safe space to express. Children have a lot of energy flowing through them, as we all know, and they need avenues to express it. So while it may not be through emotions alone, extracurricular activities really help, especially boys who just have that energy in them.
Yes.
So physical activities, great. Group activities, great, because outside of school, it's more fun. You know, fun is my theme. It's more fun, and so you get to be in a competition environment, but maybe you're learning a skill, and maybe somebody's better at you, or maybe you're excelling at one thing you do in one area, and maybe not the others. So we need to have more activities, first of all, because I know it may not have a lot of extracurricular activities going around. So adults, think about giving back to your community in that way.
Yes.
And parents, try to get your children in some extracurricular activities and talk them through it, see how they're feeling emotionally, as well as giving them the space to express their emotions. Like even with my son, he's 2, so he may want to, like, you know, with me, I'll be like, oh, you wanna? Here's the pillow, go. And he's like, at the pillow. And I'm like, let it out, you know, you bite? Don't bite me, don't bite people. You want to bite the pillow? Bite it. You feel, yes, let it out. And we just tussle like that because they have the feelings. You can't tell them to stop. They don't know how to regulate their emotions, and it is intense. They're feeling intense things in their little bodies. So they need to release it. I'm a huge crier. If I get happy, sad, I'm just crying, you know, and I'm just like, I'll be like, I'm fine. And as soon as I'm done, I'm like, yes. Refreshed, good to go. So just allow them and give them the safe space and show them responsible ways to release emotions rather than bottle them up.
I remember from your toddler's perspective, but what about the older?
And even before I go there, I remember Mikey's first son, because I always follow him from baby. I remember when he made international news by this fun thing with some object below, 3 cups. And I was saying, yeah, Mikey getting it, because at this age, how they, as we say, they bottle up a lot of things. And all these activities I was looking at him doing with the children. And I hope that, you know, other parents pick up that it don't stop at 3 or 5 or 7, but you continue. And with the age group I work with, we have to remember the crisis age, turning into getting to know who you are. I don't know who I am, puberty, adolescent, my body's changing, I don't like my face, what is going on with my body? Girls are rejecting me, guys are rejecting me. And so they get angry. They're in the class, I don't feeling well today because the girl rejecting them sitting behind there, you know, so I want to go in the washroom, I don't want to be here, my head hurting me, I'm hungry. Or the young lady will be like, oh, my period on me, or me and mommy vex, some things like that. So some of the ways in class, because I would go and I would look at everybody's face. One of the things I do as an instructor or parenting facilitator is to do fun things as icebreakers. We do fun things, or I do give them puzzles and all kind of stuff to, you know, to express. And I also have something called basket day. I put a basket there, I give you paper, no name, put anything there. And you should see all the comments, the anger, the depression, the happiness, the everything. And this is one way, because a lot of parents don't have time, or they don't know to communicate with this turbulent age. They don't get a chance to express. So when I give them the basket, they do all of that. And what I will do, read out everything. And then some people duck in. And they realize, I thought it was me alone, but Lexan had this problem. Reese, what's going on? And so and then people will start to open up, because they realize, no, this problem is not only with me. It's not only my mother speaking to me that way, but Anisha's mother speaking to her this way, whether lovingly or in the opposite. So for the young people, for me in the classroom, I try to get to know them, what will fit them well, what tailor things to suit. And, you know, as Reese was sharing, we next to Palmy's Beach, you know, go on the beach, do a field trip. We do field trips all the time, take them out to lunch, something like that. Or ask them, if you had life in another way, another opportunity to choose, what would you do? What would you choose? You know? And some of them, maybe they're doing plumbing, but that's not what they want to do because their parents want them to do that. And so they sort of carry things inside of them. And so coming to social media, I will share a lot of things with them so they could channel and look at other people's lives, right? Whether it be on health, whether on adolescence, whether it's sports, you know, whether it's cooking, whether about reading, whether falling in love, because that's the age group. Another thing is parents would like to discuss this. It is okay. Just now your daughter come in and say, Mom, I see Jason there, or maybe she ain't telling you anything. It is okay, right? I was terrible at that as a parent. Hello, where you going? We ain't ready for a boy in yet, right? What you talking about? Yes, we ain't ready. And I know, you know, your children could get very angry at that. And because we were not trained as parents, this is just something parenting happening at the moment, how things go along. And we now, as being conscious people, we have to, it's a constant learning of how, and you have your girls, what am I doing to help them express? And maybe, no matter how close you are with them, I don't want to, you think your son will tell you, Mommy, I seen this girl and Ricky's behind the building. No, he might tell my girl here, you understand? And so it is not easy. It is not easy helping them to channel, because what is good for them, they may be rejecting that because they want something else. And we have to understand this is the turbulent age, the age of crisis, the crisis phase. And so we offer them all to come, let's make the dumpling, right? I'm going to make some split pea soup. You know, need the flour. However the dumpling come out, Cabo say, however, we're going to eat that. What you feel to eat today? It may not be food. Are you washing? Let's do that together. How about the neighbor? What you think about Miss Reese? You know, so things that troubling them. You share. You know, once upon a time, there was a boy. Maybe you're talking about the boy, your son or your daughter. You know, there was a boy and, you know, he used to do that and, you know, different things like that. But as we say, it takes a community. Because some of the children in the home, they are very good with the neighbors. And you may not like the neighbor. And your children very close to the neighbor. What's up? Here. And you're worried about, I wonder, what will you talk about over there? What is it you talk? You're going to talk my business over there? You know, and so the schools, the community, and let's talk about the church, you know. A lot of young people don't like the church these days because, you know, that is a whole different story. But we also have to remember the spiritual aspect of a child's life. We tend to full up with many other things and the spirituality get lost. And mind you, I didn't say religion, the spiritual aspect of having them recognize if you're going through a hard time and you think you can't speak to mommy or the teacher or Miss Reese or Alexandre, just talk to God. Don't find, you know, you don't need fancy word to tell God. God is me today. I'm going through that. You know, help me out here now, right? Or there may be somebody you could say, you know, when last you see this person, how about talking to so-and-so, you know? But this is not a B, C, D falling in line of things to do because each child is different. And each individual is different. Maybe Olela, when she get angry, she vexes with you and slamming the door, and you say, girl, you better be careful. That's my door. Right? I'll take it out. And another child will just sit down there whole evening, face swell up, right? Or they might do something to annoy you. So each child, so what is working for you may not work for me, and what is working for you your little handsome baby may not, maybe he attached to Jason and be telling Jason things like, what really going on here with you and Jason, you know, they forming bonds. So helping them to form healthy bonding with people who they can trust and who can have this conversation and give them honest feedback. And not the nice ones they had to say, but honest feedback and say, you know what, okay, well, I think you're doing well, but here what, you know, by tomorrow, let's try and work to change in that. And so a lot of honest feedback with all what you say, they're helping them to channel and speaking with them and walking them through things. But the number one, too, don't forget the spiritual aspect of all of that.
I'd like to add that there are some core values, because I believe helping our boys and girls, and I'm thinking the teenage going into young adult era there. It doesn't start at that point. It's not a conversation. It is something where you have to start from early. You have to teach them tolerance. When they're playing with other kids, you have to teach them certain values, having respect, boundaries, the tolerance, which is a very big one. Yes, and you know, being able to handle rejection, letting them know that what happened for Tom probably wouldn't happen for you. But something would happen for you. But what has to happen for you is for you.
That's it.
What happened for Tom is for Tom. And that you have to work. That things don't just come. That feeling of entitlement, where as a male especially, you think you'd get the better jobs than the female. You just ultimately think that you are going to get more subjects, so to speak, you excel academically, or in terms of a business, you're more inclined to have a successful business. All those things come with putting in the work. And when we teach our children these things, that is part of solving the issues there. Another thing that I like to do is expose your children to different things, so you grow up that way. It's not just about food, clothes, and shelter anymore. You have to take the children out. You have to let them see different ways people live, people communicate, things they do. It broadens their horizon. They know what they want from what they don't want. Sometimes a trip, and that has actually happened for my son and my two daughters. We went to visit a friend at the prison. He couldn't believe, this is a prison? That was an eye-opener for him. He knows that he never ever wants to go to prison. You know, so he didn't even get to the stage where he had to be warned. So from early, you keep exposing him. Take them to the football matches. Let them see conflict resolution on the field. Let them see that there's a referee that's in charge and what he says goes, and that you don't fight with the referee. So you have to nip things in the bud by exposing them at a very early age and going further. Don't be too tired, or that's not your thing, or whatever. Because if you don't introduce your children to certain things by yourself, someone else is going to introduce it to them, and they are going to pick up the exciting way. If my children today was to say they don't want to participate in Carnival, I can't argue with them. Because I exposed them to Carnival my way. So they know. You know, and I would tell them things like, listen, my daughter, when she wanted to play fancy mass, she was 19. I say, okay, but I know Juve have to play first. Because you have to reverence your ancestors. And if you don't reverence your ancestors, we're not going on no road for no fancy mass. Right? And guess what? She's a fancy girl. She had the fancy mass experience and said, never me again. So does that tell you something? I didn't have to tell her, Aliyah, I don't want to see you in these little pieces of things. It gets so naked, it's no longer about costuming. She had the experience of what it was like before, doing all the traditional mass and exposing her to the teachings, where it stemmed from, why is it that we need to do these things. That when she got to the part that, in my opinion, was a bit meaningless to me, all I had to do was allow her to be able to experience it. And then she came back, never me again.
But even into joining with my colleagues, that we have to first be the safe space that they can come to. Because if they cannot come, if our children cannot come to us first, they would be attracted to other elements. So we have to be that, confidential, that our children will be able to come to us. And based on how we deal with our children, this will sometimes cause their peers, and you would see in certain families, a home, 9 children. Everybody wants to flock to that particular house. It is because of the love that they're getting from there. I have had children that went to school with my son. Sometimes they would meet, Joshua mother, and I'm like, so and so. And I remember you told me that, you know, and you encourage them. You may just be that only voice that they have saying, I believe in you. Yes, you can become something better. Because sometimes when you look at the villages and what is happening within the crime rates, the addiction to, you know, substance, the abusing, and I don't know if I can do it. Like maybe open my home to everybody. However, I believe that we have to be the first voice, that something can be done through social development, that we can go into the schools and be that voice to be there, have activities, as we say, have games, have that avenue where they can feel free to release what they're experiencing, their frustrations, because sometimes you go home and you want to talk to mommy, you want to talk to daddy, I don't want to hear you. They're distracted. Sometimes mothers, fathers, they have their own burdens that they're dealing with. They're trying to figure out, how am I getting to feed the children tomorrow? Where is that coming from? And this in itself brings on a level of pressure. So through education, we that are the learned ones, we should be making ourselves available because we understand what is happening. That, you know, the children, adults, you know, the small ones can come and have that kind of open discussion with us and feel safe. We are the safe place, you know, for them.
But does our empowerment encourage our children to come to us?
True,
and that's what Reese was touching on,
yes.
and which I really loved.
Yes.
With tolerance.
Yes.
Because you need to experience
yes.
to learn.
That's
and
it.
sometimes at that age where you kind of have the emotions telling you, well, I feel like I am this and that, and you feel like you know yourself or you're figuring it out, and then mommy's like, you crazy? and then you want to prove to mommy because
yes.
you care what she thinks that I'm not crazy. And then sometimes you go down the path that mommy doesn't want you to go down versus you
yes.
say, here's what I think about what you want to do.
Yes.
I don't think it's a good idea, but if you would like to try it, you can, and talk to me, let me know how that went. And if it's something really bad, I mean, that might have a different turn of events, right? Versus just playing fancy mass or whatever. But if you would like to experience it, sure. Versus you treating them like they have no authority or that they should know better. And shame is another emotion that is very controlling that we're not aware of. Because shame makes you repeat your pattern, your negative behavior more than you think. So when you're trying to not be angry anymore, and you realize I'm an angry person, you're not gonna stop being angry. So let's talk about the next time you get angry. You get angry, and then what happens is the awareness is like, all right, I just got angry. And you have to tell yourself that is so much growth, but it's overlooked because you've just repeated that bad behavior, right? But you have to say, you know what, this time I recognized 10 seconds after that I was angry. And rather than saying, shucks, I'm over this, that shame, you can then shift and say, all right, next time, let me see if I can identify it 5 seconds after versus 10. And enjoy your small wins, right? And that's a practical way to work with your emotions. And one last thing is identifying or compartmentalizing things that you have control over and things that you don't. So if I have control over this, let me first remove the shame, feel it, I'm shame, but I shouldn't feel shame right now. I want to do better and I will next time. or if you don't have control, I like to play this game of, well, what is the most positive way I can spin this? So if somebody rejects me, I'll be like, maybe they can handle. Maybe they can handle all this energy. Or if I didn't get an opportunity, I'd be like, maybe I would have been miserable at this place. Maybe something even better is on the horizon. And it sounds cliche, it may sound sappy, but it's beautiful to be able to have control over your thoughts and not let the things around you, the people around you, take your time, your precious time that you have here on this earth, and have you fall down in some sort of negative whatever. So I just like to play a game of how can I positively spin this situation? Because I don't have control over it, might as well control the way I look at it.
Exactly. But let me hasten to add that we are all here conscious about what we are speaking of. And I imagine there's an audience out there in which we are speaking to the choir. Because I'm out in the community doing parenting, there are many families this wouldn't reach now, right? And although we have it on air, some of the people, we have to meet them where they are. Yes. And I'm hastening to add that because some people, the whole community shun them. Yeah. And if we are talking about finding some way for this young person to channel what they feel, and your community is rejecting you, or the school feel a particular way. You see this family and then, they don't have, they smell like that. And then you angry, not with your family, but at your community, at your school. And so what we are saying here is not an easy task in terms of, what we're saying here is just something easy for us to understand, for the parents or they understand. But there are communities where people, the neighbors look at the children in a particular way, comparisons are made in a particular way, and so the school and the church here will have to come in to help them channel, because they may not get it home, and they may not get it in the particular community. And so we continue to have stigma and stereotyping going on in, I mean, we have some communities in Grenada that years and years and years, maybe we even are guilty about looking at the people in a particular way without even knowing them. Oh, this boy from there? Where he must be. Oh, she from there? Mind you, this young man or young lady, they could be doing very well, but you didn't get to know them. And so when we have these live programs and, talking about channeling and so on, I hope that at some time we can take the program outside of the stadium and go to some community. I mean, we do it during the year, but something like that. And some of these very questions, ask them, how do you feel? How do you feel about us being here? We are here to help you. So because we have a very digital young generation, very digital, and parents have to get up to scratch. But if they have to worry about the meal and so on, and the child angry that they don't have a phone, tell me how they helping them channel what, So these are the other side of the coin that we also have to look at.
Just to say add or two on it, on what you just said. You're quite right. We have an idea of what we are talking about, right? And now it's up to the listeners or the parents out there who have to forget about what Emily's son is doing and focus on their priority, their children. And that is something that is rather hard because sometimes parents intend to focus on someone else's child growth and forget about their own. And I strongly believe that communication has a very strong role in it. And I'm not talking about communication with just words. No. Emotionally. You need to communicate and love, empathy has a lot to do with it. Because I remember just my little niece, and I was doing some art stuff, and she watched me. And she said, Uncle, can I paint too? I said, yeah, sure, no problem. I give her a paintbrush, I give her a paint, and I said, go ahead, do your stuff. And she paints. Now, after she painted, I look at it and I look at it. I'm like, no, something is wrong. Yes, children paint strange stuff. They draw. Their imagination is not like ours. Right? It's not like ours. And therefore, when we communicate emotionally, whatever ways to communicate, keep an open eye. An open eye and an open mind. Because her art, her painting she did, there was a lot of emotions in there. There was anger in it. And then I have to pull her aside and we talking, we play talk and we bring her for a little stroll or we ride, whatever the case is. How's school doing? You ask questions.
Yes.
How is home? How is, you ask questions and then you will you really get that one-on-one answer. You get the answer, what the matter, what the problem is.
Right.
And then you will be able to put the T's and the cross and the T's and the I's and the dots.
Wow.
You
Absolutely. But if I could give you like one last chance to add, because I do have the finale question that I'd love to pitch. Believe it or not, you know the conversation is going so good that the time is just going. So after your next point, I will also move on to my final question to each and every one of you. Yep. Anisha?
Yes, no, as Jason was saying that the paintings, what they reveal, and sometimes in the strangest form, the things that they put there, and you would ask yourself, well, why all this is happening here? And you would sit and you would have a discussion with them, and you'll be amazed. Sometimes this is where you'll know that a child is being experiencing abuse in the home, in the school, they've been bullied. So, we have to be the voice to the choir, as they was saying, they find a way to reach the public. These discussions would not cut it here. More has to be put into this, and in order to get our communities one by one. It would not happen overnight, however, but we need to take this in order to have a better nation, a better community first, homes, community, and then a nation. We have to chime in to see what is going on, have those persons to be feeling free to express themselves. Let us be the first safe space that they can come to,
Definitely. So ladies and gents, can you believe it? It is almost the conclusion of this fantastic, engaging topic today. And I just for general takeaway, this is my final question to each and every one of you. What's one message or call to action would you like to leave with parents, teachers, or even young people listening right now? I'll start with you first, Dale, because you're closest to me. Yeah.
It's a tall one, and we can enter another 1 or 1.5 by this. Engagement first, I would like to say thanks to the Ministry of Social Development, because right through the year, whether it's spicy parenting, GBV, whichever area, and I would like to say to parents, reach out. I don't have the emergency numbers, but I think Lexi can share it. And teachers and parents, remember your role. And this is not about whether I like this child or not, but this is a conscious effort in building a good person, helping that person along the way. So remember your responsibility. Whether it be lunch or needs, emotional needs, material needs, you may not be able to provide it, but always make referral. And this is something I do all the time, whether it's a house or whatever, many things out there. Make referral. Maybe you can ask for help by not calling the person's name, or ask for help by, making anonymous. And as I always say, if you turn a blind eye, in a few years, we would not be able to sit on our veranda.
Oh, we are.
Because those we pass, we're gonna be on the veranda. Those we neglect today, they could be a menace out there. And so I just want to say to all of us, continue doing what we are doing, Ministry of Social Development, and everybody else out there who are doing something positive to raise our sons and our daughters, whether it's biological or not. Continue speaking the positive words to them. Continue looking out for them. Continue to say, even if you just pass them, shouldn't you be in the school? Where are you going? What is happening? To the young people, remember you have your whole life ahead of you. And though you are going through this challenging time, or you may be feeling left out, rejected, alone, first thing, remember, you can go to God, the spiritual aspect. Find someone who you can trust. Or write your parents, write a little note and say, Mommy Lexi, I did something last night, I didn't like it. So the conversation entered. Now, if you are not on that level, then maybe a teacher or someone else. But don't give up. Parents and teachers, community people, don't give up. Fellow citizens out there, let us look out for our young citizens, because they will be the ones who are carrying the torch after us. So let's not pretend we weren't young too, but let us give a steady hand as we can and as we go along. And I will say, God bless families, God bless the youth of the nation, and may they continue to strive in prosperity and health. Yes.
You see?
So what I would like to leave with parents, teachers, actually everyone, is just remember that we all have purpose. Everybody is different, but everybody has a purpose to serve. And if we exercise kindness, if everyone exercised kindness, we wouldn't have a problem. Because if you're kind to me, I am kind to you, what are we having a problem for? Are we too kind? We were hating on each other because we're too kind? No. It's important that we exercise kindness all the time. When we see children, wherever, see them as your child. Because if you do not impact that child in a positive way, then this child could come back to be your living nightmare, whether related to you or not. They can end up being your living nightmare at some point in time. I try to exercise that all the time. I get excited when Nala tells me about her fellow students and what they're doing, or my son. I get as excited about projects and what they're thinking about doing. I start thinking about ideas to give to them and for my children as well. Sometimes I have to slow down because they're not there yet. It's not my life, So that's what I would like for people to do. Just see every child as belonging to a village, as belonging to us. We need to step away from this thing where don't talk to my child, you can't discipline my child, you're taking me to courthouse because I talked to your child or whatever. That needs to be a thing of the past, not the way past, the past, like not too long ago. Because before we could have disciplined children, it didn't matter, You hear stories about, if your mother beat you and she sent you in the shop, you better not be quarreling on the road because you're getting a second leaks from the neighbor down the road when they ask you what you're vexed for, So we need to really see this thing in the true sense of it. Stop saying this cliche thing about it takes a village. It truly takes a village. It takes a village. And if we all care about each other's children, and as teachers we do, as parents we do, and we teach our children the values of togetherness, of sharing and caring and loving and having empathy, we'll be a good society. And I want to leave this world, just before I leave, I want to be able to have my faculties to say, Reese, you did your part. Yeah.
Thank you, Reese. Jason.
Sure. All the parents, even the non-parents as myself, but still parents, we're all parents.
Yeah.
We need to get this one thing straight. Rome was not built in a day, right? The world was not built in a day. And the little, or the correction we teach our children today, it goes a long way. it helps build them, and not just them, but also a better tomorrow. And for the children, don't try to do everything on your own. You always find yourself jammed up against a wall. You can't make it. Earlier, we have said, you will try, but you will fail somehow. But failure doesn't just come to put you down. Don't stop, don't give up. Right? There's not, everything, you cannot do everything on your own. Always seek help, get some help somewhere. And the kind of help, I'm not talking about your friends, your peers. Get help. If you don't want to go to your parents, go to someone that you really trust that can tell you no when you're doing something wrong or right when you do it. Yes, go ahead, do so. Go to someone like that. Don't try to change anything that you cannot change.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason. Emily?
I like to say that, and this goes to everybody, your past and your environment does not define you. Mm-hmm. Your past only matters as long as you allow it. So your past doesn't have to matter at all. There's certain things that happen that you just forget, and everything else goes with it. You have the power to do that in 10 seconds if you'd like to, if something horrible has happened. You have the power to, but you need to believe it. So take responsibility over your life. Responsibility. The ability to respond to the things that happens to you. That's all you really have. How do I respond? And every waking moment, you get new opportunities to do that. So I would say focus on the future. Try to be as positive as possible. Watch the way you speak about yourself and others. Watch the way you think about yourself and others. It's harder than it seems. And it takes a lot of work. Be consistent. Love yourself and love others. Dream big and ask yourself, what is something you would do if you knew that you would succeed 100% at it? I think that's all I would say.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily. And finally, Anisha.
Yes, I would encourage the young people out there, to find that safe space. Now we are a voice that is out there now to them. A lot of them might be listening, not now, but later on. And they are listening. They are listening to everything that each and every one of us would have said this afternoon. So some might be wondering, can I really go to Reese? Can I really go to Miss Neptune? They're looking for that place where they can release things. So we have to know, should I say, empower ourselves more, that we will be able to reach our young people out there. I encourage them also to find the grounding in God. As Miss Neptune said a while ago, it is just a calming experience. Even as adults, when we do not have the answers, I would go, I say, God, I can't deal with this one. There are many times I say to him, I can't speak to that child. I might not be able to speak to my son about a matter now. However, I'm telling you, and I tell God, and I watch sometime within days, he comes around and he said something else. So I know that God do, respond and answers to, give us answers that when we call on him. And, I am grateful for social development for having this program. I mean, I know it's just the opening of many sessions because we can't be finished here today, but I would just encourage young people out there to be positive. If it is just to go in the mirror and start speaking to yourself, this is a way to start. Because if you cannot speak to someone, you can start speaking to yourself. And you would find that way of developing that confidence that you'll be able to reach out to someone else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh, I forgot. Yeah,
thank you.
touched on something. And I wanted to say it throughout because we're talking about people who may not have certain resources or past generations didn't have the education or the know-how for certain things. But again, take responsibility, go online, research what you need to, put on some podcasts and educate yourself, especially as adults. Children are in the habit of learning. We forget about it when we get older, and that's how we break cycles, and that's how we change our future. There's nothing stopping you. University of YouTube, free 99, right? How do I deal with such and such? What is this? Such and such. So we are so blessed to be in the digital age, be an informational age, because we can learn and we have information at our fingertips. So go out there, educate yourself, stay learning.
Thank you. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you. You were all remarkable. Thank you very much. And you made my job, woo! Man! Just flowing. But thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. I also want to say thank you and much appreciation to the Gender-Based Violence Unit. I mean, they're really spearheaded this whole team. The incredible team of Miss Pitt and Rachel and all the other great women and men behind the scenes who've made this happen. And this is not the final one, folks. It's one more to go. Well, there's one more to go, and it's happening on Thursday the 4th, which is right after tomorrow. But I want to say special thank you also to George F. Huggins. Thank you so very much. Also to excuse me, Tropical Catering. Thank you so very much. To the technical team, Mikey Live. Thank you so very much. And also, I want to share some information with you. You heard Ms. Houston mention safe space, and there are lots of ways that you can get help. We have numbers for you if you have a pen, pencil, but guess what? This is going to be forever online, so you can check it out again, just in case you miss a number. You can contact the Gender-Based Violence Unit at 417-6167. That's 417-6167. There's also the Special Victim Unit. Their number, easy squeezy, 400. That's it. 400. And there's the Child Protection Authority, 435-0293. That is the Child Protection Authority, 435-0293. There's legal aid and counseling. There, they can be reached at 440-3788. That's 440-3788. And Grenchap, 435-0585. There's also a mobile number for legal aid. Let me just add that one as well. It's 417-8214. That's 417-8214. Before I take my leave, I just want to say, prevention begins with education. It begins with dialogue and engagement. And I want to say that also ending gender-based violence isn't just a campaign, but it's also a collective responsibility. So these conversations, the engagement, the dialogues, the connections, the helping hand, the empathy, everything that comes with it, and of course, last but not least, respect. We have to remember all of these elements when put together. It can go a long way in helping the brother, the sister that needs your help today. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone. Don't forget, the final one comes up this Thursday. Same time, Mikey's going to be in action as well. Share it. Share it with someone today that you know might need help. Share the numbers with them. Thank you so very much again. It's been a pleasure and a delight to spend this evening with you. Take good care. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Until next time, have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Violence destroys lives. Let's end violence now. I am Anya Chow Chung, Chief Executive Officer of George F. Huggins and Company, Grenada Limited. And I am taking a firm stand against gender-based violence.
This is a message from the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, together with its social partners.
Violence undermines our sense of self-worth and self-esteem. Let us take a stand against all forms of violence. My name is Nala Sam, Little Miss Grenada, the Spice Child, and I take a firm stand against all forms of gender-based violence.
This is a message from the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, together with its social partners.
Against our women and girls, men and boys, is totally unacceptable and inexcusable. My name is Father Edward Mark, Minister of Religion, social worker, counselor, and a strong advocate against violence. Therefore, I ask Grenada to join with me to take a firm stand against violence of any nature.
This is a message from the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, together with its social partners.